Hello, everyone, and welcome to PrusaLive 35. With me, I've got Nicholas Sousa and Joseph Prusa.
Hello.
And in just a little bit, we'll be joined by Nathan Dodd, one of our engineers. Super excited to have him on, and we've got lots of great stuff to talk about this show. It is going to be packed, and there are a ton of you in the waiting room. So let's keep this train rolling. Mickey, what do you have for your Prusa printer pick of the week this week?
Surprise, surprise! It's big. It's very big. It's the PrusaMant line that's usually, this big, and we put it in front of our PrusaMant spools when we do PLA product pictures. So this one is huge, printed on the XL.
Very cool.
Oh,
That's a very big line.
I forgot about my print.
Yeah, I kind of expected
Mickey,
that.
I mean,
Mickey has you covered.
I was last couple of weeks or months. I was so busy. But Mickey is a true partner.
I've prepared one more. It's
pointing me at the model of our factory.
Prusa HQ. Yeah, put it on the XL as well. The only thing is we keep breaking the chimney because, it's just sticking out there.
Yeah. I've had a lot of people.
I would say there's a bit of artistic license used at this.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because it is way more spread out. We have so many places, the little ones around.
This looks more like a Willy Wonka factory with the nice gate and everything. But yeah, it looks something like this.
Very nice. Okay, so you guys have giant prints, and I have a very tiny print. So I saw this and thought this was kind of adorable.
That's very tiny. That's cute.
Yes. So this is a little tank, but it is a tank that goes on the Z-axis of your Mini, and you put a magnet in the bottom, and as the Mini changes its Z-axis, it turns the turret around on the tank.
Oh, that's great.
And it's really cute.
That's really great.
I love the motor visualizers, and this one was really fun. And printed it in Mystic Green, and it looks kind of tankish. And this is by Vikas. And cool little model.
Do we have? I have also a little thing for the Lion. Do we have screen share? Oh, we do have screen share. I printed it big. Turns out there's actually even way bigger one. And actually, the origin of this model, it's a statue in front of a football stadium in Lyon. So I think that's a cool backstory of this model.
Is it their mascot?
I guess, yeah.
Is it the same?
Yeah, it's the same.
Let me see if the model is decimated the same way.
Yeah, I think it's it.
Very cool.
It is very close, but I don't think it is the exact model.
Someone might have taken some artistic license.
Yeah.
The tail was a little bit different.
It was originally uploaded by Terangi Giuseppe, and then 3DWP, they're from Netherlands. They fixed the model to be better for printing, just to give a bit of credit where credit is due.
Yes, fantastic. Okay, so we've got some news. We've got a lot of news this week, right?
Yes,
we got some very big news.
I'm sure everyone is excited about the XL, which is right there. And just to put it out there, we're going to get to it in about 10-15 minutes. We have to go through all the news first.
Yeah, but guys, I mean, there's so many things going on. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to reply to everyone who was mentioning me after the release of XL, but so much stuff was happening over the last 2-3 months. We finished our business accelerator in PrusaLive. We invested into one company. Then we finished the acquisition of the TriLab, another Czech printing or 3D printing company. And, on top of that, we decided, let's do a release of XL. So, after I got back from the farm next, I was just sleeping. Sleeping every day and doing the basic necessities of running the company. But finally, I'm getting some energy back, and I have a feeling that I will get a lot more energy from this stream.
Yeah. I assume it's gonna be great. Oh. Okay, I thought you froze for a second.
No, I'm here. I was popping out the chat, which might actually be useless because the chat is flying so fast. That, anyways, so other just quick notes on news. Those are very cool. I think the TriLab thing is like totally getting, kind of brushed under the rug with the Excel launch and everything else. But I think that's super exciting, and it's going to be really great to see, how that kind of like changes things for us in the future. Very cool. Couple contest notes. The Quick Prints contest is ending in just a couple days. It ends on the 30th. So if you have a quick print that you're working on, get in on that contest with a chance to win.
I've already printed. I have already a favorite for the winner. Honestly, I've printed a few models, and one is so good. I don't want to.
There's some really good ones in there, but yes, don't give away your favorites yet because
not just yet.
It's not fair for the potential of who wins the
that is true. But print. when I see the main image, you know what I use. Let me try to hide all the keys. I'm using this thing for holding my keys, but it doesn't fit all my non-standard keys, and I'm using the tokens or the small RFID.
Yeah.
And I was thinking for like last 10 months that I need to design something myself. And and I will print in if I break the RFID tokens to print in the
into it.
Yes.
Nice.
And I was like, and I was thinking how I will do it, multi-material with flags on the bottom and something rigid on the side.
Yeah.
And then I saw this and I was like,
well, that
could just print it standing up.
That key bar is not actually eligible for winning the contest because it was a previous thing.
I
so
know,
that one's fine for us to show. Yeah.
I had to talk about it when guys chose it as the poster child of this competition.
Yeah, guys, you need me. So we have another contest going on right now, and there it is. Snap-on controller mods. So this is the first contest that we're doing that we are not actually putting on the contest. We are sponsoring the contest and we're hosting it on PrusaPrinters, but it is being run by Caleb Kraft from MakeScene. And this is a really great contest to kind of help out people in need and give back to our overall community. So the idea here is building mods for video game controllers to help people who might have special needs as far as holding, gripping, and actuating the controller. And that one has a lot of time left. We ran that for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been watching Caleb doing these mods for free for people for a long time, so I'm super excited about this.
And he's hoping this contest will help kind of build that community more and things like that. And he can, he has been doing the mods himself and giving them away to people. And he's hoping that he can, kind of like what Enable has done with like hands and things like that, that he can use this to kind of get more people involved to, turn a whole community into people doing it. So.
And we're looking forward to do more of these like third-party contests in the future.
Yeah.
So if you're watching and you would maybe like to do something like that, just send us an email.
Yes.
Yeah. Ping me and we'll get it figured out. Okay, and we have a holiday contest coming very soon. It hasn't been fully announced yet, but holiday contest coming. So yeah. What else do we have? New firmware
Caleb
for the
is
Mini.
in the chat.
Oh, nice. Hey,
Hi,
Caleb.
Awesome.
Caleb.
Hey, Caleb.
We love you, Caleb.
Yes. Mostly. Yeah. So, RC3 or release candidate for mini firmware is out.
Yes. It's in release candidate, and there are some community features that were requested by the community. For example, guys in New Zealand couldn't set the proper time zone because they need plus 14, not just plus 12. So our devs added that, which is awesome. There was also, certain steel sheet profiles. That's what people requested as well. And also, Prusa Slicer 2.4 has a bigger footer with the material info, so it now reads that properly. Even though Prusa Slicer 2.4 also, it's in beta, it's not also released, so we're just simultaneously doing the firmware and the slicer at the same time, testing it, so it works nicely together.
Yeah, but as you mentioned that we are going to add time zones. Dealing with time zones and daytime savings and all this things, I used to be a programmer, and
this is the worst,
and I was doing my own systems before I even started with 3D printing. And back then, even the libraries couldn't manage it properly because there are time zones which are not the whole hours, but half hour steps.
I think this is the biggest challenge.
Will be the next update.
The biggest challenge for humanity for colonizing Mars is updating the time library to properly work on Mars. I think that's going to be a nightmare.
Should we standardize the Unix timestamp as
the
universal time?
Right. Yeah, and here in the U.S. we have states that just choose not to abide by daylight savings time. They just skip it. So like Arizona changes what time zone it is based on whether or not we are in or out of daylight savings time. So it's crazy.
I noticed that in Europe we are talking about ditching the daylight saving time, but I'm not sure if it actually got approved and we are starting next year.
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
We have a bill going through Congress here too.
I'm sure a ton of people. I'm just jumping straight back to firmware. Sorry.
Right.
We have a lot of people, I'm sure, wondering about we always get asked about the Wi-Fi for the Mini. And David, our firmware lead developer, basically, you can check if you're a programmer. We are speaking about programmers. You can check it in the repository. It's there. It's if it was finished, it would be released. But it's getting there. It's pretty good. So if you're a programmer, you can try to pull it from the repo and check it out. And also, some people asked about certification, and that's one of the reasons why we are using the ESP, because that is already certified for the right bands. So that should sort that.
Yeah, it is. Certification is definitely difficult. We are now dealing with UL.
But that would be incredible if we. I hope we can get that.
Yeah, but over the last couple of months, we learned a lot.
Yeah.
And we will be doing a lot of the stuff we learned, but having inspectors coming to us and our suppliers every month or so. This will take time, but we will use the knowledge.
I think it's also really worth noting that for people who really, really want to get their Mini on a network but can't run Ethernet, that there are devices called Wi-Fi bridges that plug Ethernet into Ethernet and then give you Wi-Fi. And that is a really simple and they're like $30 if that. It's a
check it
simple
out if you need it
and cost-effective way. If you need it, that is definitely an option.
Yeah. But I want to say a funny thing about the UL certification. Once we dived in, we found out that there's actually not a single certified printer.
Zero.
If you see a UL logo on any other machine, you can guess that it is from one of the modules or something, but it is not a whole certified printer.
Yes.
Maybe we should work with UL on that, and
we are working.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, make that a thing. Great. In the firmware side of things, we also have 3.10.1 for Mark 3S in testing too.
It's in the release candidate for a really long time. There was some problem in the compiler that our devs had to work around. So unfortunately, that took a while. I think the RC was perfectly usable, but to get it into final, it's now finally in the final stages of testing. So we can, unless we find something, which I don't expect, something wrong with it, we can expect the final release quite soon.
Yeah.
Right. And as go ahead, Joe.
I saw some mentions that the Mark III repository is completely dead, but what is definitely coming is the compatibility for the rewritten firmware of MMU.
Yes. Yeah.
Which doesn't rely just on the LEDs,
like
but
the panel,
printer on the main panel will tell you what is happening. And so far, what I've seen in testing, it's pretty great step forward.
Oh, I need to check it out. I didn't have a chance to play with it yet, so I look forward to try it.
That will be so useful. Trying to figure out the lights is not the most fun thing, and I think it will really help with people like debugging their MMU. I can't wait for that. So Black Friday deals.
Yes, that's the last thing, I guess, from the news segment. Right? I mean, also the XL, but we're going to transition into that shortly. But yeah, Black Friday, there will be the announcement. I mean, we actually do Black Friday on Friday. Like, wow, not many companies. Like, I think the article goes out on midnight from Thursday to Friday.
Yeah, but as we ship to the whole world, it is difficult to pick a time. But
that's true.
I think it's late night tomorrow.
Yeah,
and we are doing deals as usual.
Similar as every year, basically. No huge surprises.
And look for the article, but this year it will be difficult.
Yeah.
Watch our. Go ahead.
Yeah, we try to not overpromise, but the COVID situation in Czechia is kind of sketchy right now. If you would multiply it to U.S. populace, yesterday we had like 900,000 cases. So let's hope with our measures we will be able to do everything. I believe in it, but I'm just giving a heads up.
Yeah, we'll definitely check the shipping table before. If you need a printer to arrive before Christmas, some models, some variants are already like undoable before Christmas. Some still are, so check the shipping table so that you're not disappointed.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, it is entirely possible that, in mid-December, everything will get closed down.
That's unfortunately a possibility.
I don't think it will happen, but
yeah,
I just want to be
open
about this.
Yeah. And speaking of like Black Friday deals, if you follow us every year, you can kind of expect what's there gonna be. I saw some question about the filament packs. They're gonna go back on the eShop. I think it's just they're out of stock, and we're still fine. We released a new eShop, by the way, and we are.
I don't see it on your list.
Yeah, no, but I don't think it's like for a customer, I don't think it's all that newsworthy, but. We are still polishing some things in that, so if you see something strange, no, we're not canceling the MMU or something like that. It's just a glitch in the matrix.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean that's one of those things people don't see, but we've been working on that new website because it joined the Prusa 3D for years, and. Fun fact for the programmers or web developers, we've been running for the whole time on PrestaShop.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is crazy, but actually it allowed us to, go with all the payment methods around the world. But it just had so many weird glitches, so we went for a fully custom system just built for us, and it was a big chunk to go with it.
It was a huge task, even deploying such thing. Kind of difficult, but I mean, it's already better, and it will only get better because we can actually, change and fix things in this Presta. Some things just you couldn't do anything about it. So that will be very nice. And already I think it's much faster, and especially, I don't want to jinx it, but on things like Black Friday, Presta was just down. It was every year it was just down.
During the XL launch, we've had. I saw the tweets that it's down, but it was just a deploy.
Yeah, it was just a deploy, and then it held up the whole XL ordering craziness. It stood strong, so that's nice.
I just want to slip in one more fun fact. The Presta shop we were using, it was me and Andre who originally set it up like 7 or 8 years ago, and my programming fixes and hacks in the Presta were still in use till we switched.
And that's why it crashed all the time. I mean, no, it was great. All right.
Matt, were you working on Thingiverse?
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yes,
yeah. Okay, so I think that's mostly it for news, other than the XL, right?
The XL, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe we can finally talk about it for so long. The chat was been just XL.
Yeah, I mean, the chat is quite, nothing is happening there. No one is asking about the XL. So shall we start?
We can get into the XL. So, Joe, why don't you do the quick overview of what it is for those of you that haven't read the.
I think we can bring in Nathan right now, right?
Yeah. We'll go ahead and bring in Nathan. So Nathan is one of our engineers, and he is the genius behind the Nextruder.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah. So we are super happy to. Yeah, howdy, Nathan. So we're super happy to have Nathan here to kind of answer all the Nextruder questions that we can answer right now. And so, no, Nathan's like, I've been doing this for way too long. I'm done with it. So, yeah, over 2 years ago now, like after Maker Faire Prague, you gave me a tour of the factory and showed me the prototype of the Nextruder, and like we now actually get to talk about it, which is
and you brought up a good point. It's been done for a long time. We have a lot of testing on it, and I'm very happy to get it out there.
Yeah. So Matt, should I still introduce the XL?
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
I wasn't preparing, but I will try. So after doing the Mark III and Mini for such a long time, we know that a lot of people wanted to print bigger. But I was always thinking, especially after seeing some other people who took the Mark III and just tried to scale it up, that it's just not the proper way. So the idea for the XL was brewing around the company for a long, long time, and we wanted to add some, spices to it, so it's not just another generic Core X5. And I also saw some people talking about that it's not XL, it's actually quite small, but I'm pretty sure that the size we selected, which is 37 by 37 centimeters.
36.
Oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it is huge.
Is more than enough for 99% of the people, because people actually want to have it in their apartments.
Yeah.
And
there's definitely a trade-off there, right? Of like, the bigger the print volume gets, the bigger the overall machine gets, and we already have a lot of people asking, how much desk space is this thing going to take? And so,
but you know what? I would say that especially in the one extruder config, it has one of the best ratios of the outside dimensions to the print volume, and I also noticed on social media people were commenting on the draft shield.
Oh yeah, that's quite fun.
We can't see it much,
Yeah.
but
We should have given you a second camera, Mickey, that was just on the XL that we could have like switched between and stuff.
And we said it's draft shield. It's not the full enclosure, which we are going to release or show before we actually start shipping.
Yes.
But the coolest thing, as I was thinking about the efficiency, about the space, about the draft shield, is that it is entirely contained. Nothing goes out. You don't have to open any doors.
Here it is.
And that was one of my concerns. It has to be compact.
Yeah.
Actually, I would say that most people who have Mark III dedicated workspaces, they can put this there just fine.
The width and depth is surprisingly similar because the Mark III needs a lot of space for the cables. And the bed moves back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
But the height is the only, the height is the dimension that I think changes the most drastically. I think that was one of the most popular questions everywhere, like what are the outside dimension. So let's tackle that right now. We did. It's hard to say like final, super final.
Okay, do you have a meter so I can measure it?
We actually put together like some rounded, reasonable outside dimensions, and that's 80 by 80 by 90 centimeters. The thing about the vertical is that might still... For the tool changer, it will definitely be this, basically. For the 1 and 2 extruder, we might still figure something out to make it smaller, but better not promise a smaller dimension.
Right. Yeah.
And I think the Z is slightly, well, it's still a concern because of going into racks and things like that. I think the Z is slightly less of a concern than the X and the Y is, because of sitting on a thing. Have we actually measured, like, will it fit on a lap table? Everyone has the lap tables for their...
I mean, you don't want to put that on lap table.
80 by 80 is with the spool holders on the side, which are telescope. Oh, they can't see. That's telescopic. Yeah. So,
but the Z height and the loops going to the extruders, that is one thing. Actually, we can ask the community. During the development, we were thinking if we should do the single extruder with energy chains, so it is more compact in the Z, but the last call was that if you are upgrading to more,
you would have to change it.
It should be the same, but I think a lot of people would like to have just single one and not thinking about ever upgrading it.
Yeah.
Should we revive that idea?
Yeah. What do you think about the energy chain instead of the big button on top? Leave it in comments so we can get back to it maybe tomorrow.
And we actually have something similar. The extruder mounting is a little bit different on the IX in the
Dubai
Prusa IFS.
Yes, in the AFS.
So
you can check that out how that would look basically because it's a similar concept.
Oh, and you know what is the funniest part? We were showing the IX for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
And everybody was like taking pictures of it, but nobody noticed the bed. I had to write it in the article that no one noticed that. Yeah. The little heat bedlets.
Yeah. So
and the extruder.
And then and it was also there. It was kind of covered, but that's exactly where I wanted to go. So now we have Nathan here, so maybe that's the next thing that we should definitely talk about, and that's the Nextruder.
Yeah, I think that's a great start. Another thing that we haven't really touched itself on the XL, and one of the big points. Everyone's excited about the size, and that's great, but everything that's being built into the Nextruder really takes this printer to an entirely new generation of 3D printing.
Yes.
And game changer is a word that's tossed around kind of a lot, but this is definitely one of these things that, in my opinion, is going to take the industry to a new level with everything that we're doing on the.
Just before you start, after as I'm watching the chat, the 800 millimeters is not the outside dimensions of the printer.
No.
But that is if you have spools on both sides.
Yes.
with some, space you can reach in. So it would be really inefficient if you would have 36 centimeters on the X, and the printer by itself would take 800 millimeters.
Technically, you could put the spools elsewhere, and it would be smaller in width. But
so sorry for interruption, Nathan.
Nextruder, what is it? What's up with that?
Okay. The goal was to make a strong extruder, lighter, more reliable, more user-friendly, and smarter. And I think we did that. There's been a lot of questions. I think we can answer some of those today. So from the bottom to the top, it's all new. We're manufacturing most everything by ourselves. Some cooperation with E3D on this new nozzle tube. There's been some names floating around for it, but yeah, it's a one-piece nozzle and tube, and no heat paste, no hot torquing, no clogging. I hope it's been pretty good so far, and no Teflon, no PTFE liners, no collets, no clips, just that one piece. So it's a very hard piece of stainless steel, seamless tubing.
And that's a volcano nozzle at the end of it, right?
Yeah, it's
volcano size, basically.
Maybe kind of politically incorrect to say, but yeah, it's
okay.
It's a volcano nozzle. Yeah, it's not full volcano melt zone on this model. Yeah.
Okay. So you could, I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
Inside the block, and you will understand why it's not.
Okay.
So we think we significantly cut down on heat creep issues. There it is. Okay.
That is the closest to production block.
Yes.
Yeah.
So vertical exit on the wires, so they don't get caught in hot plastic and stuff anymore. No tools hitting wires. Very easy to service and replace parts. So if you break a thermistor because something happens, you pull on the wire, stuff happens, right? You can replace it. You can replace the nozzle. You can replace the block. We haven't had to, but we wanted to let you be able to.
Yeah.
If you want.
And not only can you replace it, but there's no longer any more running cabling the whole way back to the controller box.
Yeah.
Thanks to the new breakout board, it's a short run, plugs right there. Your cabling is simple now.
Yeah, 10 seconds, or I think we can do less, but
so
10 or 20 seconds, you got a whole new one in there, and you're done.
If I can join that conversation, this is for me a holy grail. I don't know if someone in the chat is remembering the original Prusa nozzles, which were single piece.
Yeah.
It was really badass for ABS. For PLA, it was kind of sketchy, but I always wanted to have it in one single piece. So if you don't tighten the nozzle and the heat break properly, not all, but 99% of the blobs of doom should go away, because honestly, it is mostly that people don't tighten it properly.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's so easy here. So if you can either just slide out the whole assembly with the heat block, which takes really just seconds, or you can replace the nozzle with the metal tube. You just screw it out, screw it in, and it just tightens all the way to the heat block, because it's no more tightening against the heat break like it was on the V6. And even if you have something like if you make a little gap for whatever reason, it shouldn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
Because
and I was so tired when we were shooting Joel's video, that I said that the nozzle is actually connected to the heatsink, or the heater core is connected to the heatsink. It's not.
It's not.
It is. You just plug it in, and with few set screws, secure it and plug, and it's done. We are actually working on this also for over, I would say, 2 years.
Longer.
Okay.
Longer, yeah.
We have a
Go ahead, Mickey.
Okay, we have a shot in the release video where I try to get it as accurate as possible. Nathan will probably have a few comments on the accuracy of that, but you can see the tube right under the drive gear. So one of the things is the filament has nowhere to go. It just enters a metal tube, and then throughout the whole, heat sink, heat break, heater, the nozzle, it just has nowhere else to go. It's in the metal tube and then in the nozzle, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. And we should be clear that you, for the sake of viewing it, you removed a couple pieces. So there is still a very tight triangle sheet that will keep flexibles and things from shooting out of there. Yeah. It is not closed like this. There is a cover on top of that.
You're speaking about flexibles. Can it print flexibles? How well does it print flexibles? Is it awesome for flexibles?
I try to stay modest, but I think it's pretty darn good at printing flexibles.
Nice. I'll take that.
That's awesome. Which is going to be great with a tool changer, right? Because now, it's beyond just the single color, 5 colors. It's the, 5 materials or, mixes of materials too. So being able to print rigid materials, support materials, and flexible materials, all in one print will be really, really fantastic.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, the drive gear diameter and tooth shape has all been optimized for hard materials and for flex materials.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic. So you had mentioned also talking about heat creep and trying to reduce heat creep, through this nozzle and everything else. But there's another innovation that has been put forward in this too, which is you added an extra thermistor into the cold zone. That's actually watching for heat creep too, which is something we don't see.
Yeah, and to be honest, we haven't had any. We have much more powerful fans now, dual ball bearing Delta fans, really strong fans and efficient heatsink. And this thermistor just helps us monitor it, but we haven't had to use it yet. But what we can do is monitor where those problems happen. You only get it clogging in that heat break when the heat break's hot. So why not monitor it? And we use it for many things. It's safety. So when that heat break sensor gets out of your range, you can cut the print. Something happened, right?
Yeah. If something like the heat core thermistor going out would happen and just showing that it's 20 degrees Celsius and we would try to pump the heat in, we would see that it's overheating in the
heat break.
Right. Yeah. So two temperature sensors would have to fail before any kind of thermal runaway system or any kind of thermal runaway could get out of hand.
And then you still have firmware, which is looking for weird readings.
No, not that two would have to fail, but if one fails, we can find out that it failed.
Yes.
Because before we couldn't. And also as we really didn't show the whole part, and I would like for it to remain a mystery, but a little bit. The whole thing, the heatsink, the motor mount, and where the load cell is just one single piece of aluminum,
which is great.
And it can sink a lot of heat. So.
Yeah. And Nathan, what is it? Is it like 30% lighter than Mark III extruder or something like that?
I think more.
Okay.
I think more.
Yeah.
Nice. And so with that new sensor, we can have some safety features, and we can also give you performance features. So keep it really cold if some filaments like it really cold, some like it hot, right? And you want to print farm speeds. Maybe you want it a little bit hotter, and you can also regulate fans. So you can essentially make your printer only as loud as you need it to be, rather than just on full blast all the time.
Yeah.
And we haven't even talked about, I think, the coolest part of the Nextruder, and we were talking about it for quite a while. What is it? I mean,
there's a few things. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the leveling is incredible.
I think the leveling's pretty tricky. The gearbox is tricky.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But in the end, it's just pushing filament, right? Very well, I think, but it's just pushing filament. But the load cell is very unique. Yeah, it's very new. A lot of people have done it, but they don't implement it how we're using it. And as Joe said, it may not be correct to say pressure, but let's call it force. Mm-hmm. And to see this in both directions is really good.
I'm as I mentioned in the article, I actually, like almost 10 years ago, I had a printer where there was an extruder on 2 load cells, and I have it somewhere on Flickr, but I don't have that. I will try to find it out. And the credit where credit is due, the first printer I saw which had leveling with just the leveling with the load cells was 3D Gens from Poland.
Okay.
And that's a long time, because I saw in the community that Creality did it first or something like that.
Yeah, of course they didn't.
The first on the market was 3D Gens from Poland, and they are very nice guys. Nice. So go check them out.
Yeah.
But what I'm the proudest about the Nextruder is that we are not using off-the-market load cells, placing them somewhere, or as I saw on some of the printers, just the load cell on thin aluminum sheet from like actual scales. Yeah. And at the end is mounted the extruder. So if you crash the extruder, it is ruined. We strategically place the strain gauge on the part of the aluminum monoblock, or how we should call it, that we can measure for the homing, for the tool alignment, and also we can measure the pressure in the extruder. So I'm very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I can look at the data and I can see that I'm printing a Benchy by looking at the load data.
Really? You just see the graph?
Yeah, there's many. I've been looking at this for a while. Yeah, I can tell. I know when it goes to the chimney, and I know when it goes to the back bucket.
I'm really looking forward.
The machine learning people are going to go crazy. With
this. Exactly. I'm really looking for what you'll be able to do with the data one day.
Oh, I sort of mentioned it in the Jaws video, and I didn't go into the details, but even with Mini and XL, we can read a load of data and send it through Ethernet into our database, and we can analyze it, and we are very close with the accuracy of the saved data, that we could, just by the data from the database, reconstruct the model we printed, because we have the readout of all the access. But the coolest part about the release was on Twitter that we actually you use the Grafana, which is to visualize the data. You had just a screenshot of the graph in the article, and VP from Grafana reached out to me on Twitter that it is so cool that we are using Grafana, and they are big fans of our printers.
Yeah,
the world is small.
But yeah, obviously the big side, besides just kind of tuning in the print itself, is the calibration side with the load cell, is being able to, we don't have to do offsets anymore of how far is the nozzle offset off of the plate. We know exactly, because we know that the nozzle itself has touched, not, what's the spacing on the pinda and stuff like that. But beyond that, we're using kind of a touch probe when it comes to the tool changer for being able to kind of dial in the multiple heads on the tool changer.
Yes, I have a probe for that here.
And that's really a big deal, because I've been watching, for months and months, all my friends who are building the E3D tool changer, and they're buying microscope cameras to put underneath their extruders to try to line up the nozzles perfectly and figure out what the offsets are and everything else. And the system that's been created here, will be able to just automatically do that. And I think there's a lot of confusion that's going on here, because this is very similar to something that's used in the CNC world all the time of touch plates, and that is normally a electrical signal that's being sent by by putting the probe to like a ground or something like that, and it can tell when it's made contact.
That's not what's happening here.
And yes, that's not what's happening here. So that's leading to a lot of confusion about, and you guys might be able to fill in a little bit more. That's leading to a lot of confusion about how the system will perform if you have a dirty nozzle, because people are concerned about dirty nozzles affecting the
a lot of questions
the calibration.
About that.
Can you speak to that a little bit, Nathan, and what you've seen there?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure I can let all the secrets out. But yeah, of course, it always helps if you can wipe the nozzle yourself before. Yeah. But we have some pretty tricky ways of detecting if there even is some plastic there, right? It's a very different load if there's plastic there or if there's nozzle there, and we know. Yeah,
I see the probing sometimes. Sometimes it's confident on the first try, and sometimes it does a little tap on the That's it, right? It's like detecting not a clean touch.
Right. Yeah, it's waiting until the data is proper. Yeah, so
nice.
It can randomize these spots, so you're not going to be punching holes in your sheets and things like this.
Right. And I think it's
very soft. I think touching it.
I think it's also really worth. Yeah. I think it's really also worth noting. I think there's a level of confusion. Like that touch probe isn't going to have to be run on every print. That touch probe is only going to need to be run when you're changing nozzles or adding a new tool head or something.
Yeah. The calibration, yes.
The tool changer calibration is only run once, and then if you physically change something on the tool head, and it can do stuff like this. So the nozzle taps the middle pin. It then calculates the absolute offset of each tool head, and then you can print stuff like this, where normally getting the different tool heads to align so well that it looks like a single head print would be very difficult. You would do many prints and then calculate the offset. You just do this.
Yeah. Actually, one of the reasons when we were thinking about the MMU was that the MMU doesn't need to have a tool offset calibration.
Right.
Yeah,
it's just perfect every time. But with this, I'm confident to release it because on other printers, which we will not name, the calibration prints, it is just bonkers, and it is as accurate as your eye is. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it should be like that.
Oh, we are getting a question, Nathan. Is it sensitive enough to work even on the smooth sheet with the sticker, with the PI sticker?
Absolutely.
Without it damaging it at all.
Absolutely.
Even hot.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It was required.
So it goes very quickly.
But Nicholas, you are printing on it.
I'm being, it's not a devil's advocate, but I hope I'm asking the questions that people in the chat would like to ask if they had the opportunity to do in person. But so what's it? Is it doing it very quickly? It's just, I guess.
It's quick. It's soft. It's random on the touches, and I think even Mini's doing it now, where they lower the temperature and probe and raise temperature. And we have a new heater. It's pretty quick at heating up. So the temperature time that you're waiting is only a few seconds, and you don't have to probe with a 300C nozzle. So it's okay.
Yeah, and if I touch a little bit on the future, I don't want to promise it for release. Future things we are we would love to use the load cell for. One of them is to detect if the print is still attached, because if you have the whole chain under one team, the slicer and firmware and everything, we can do that. We can have data where we should probe during the print, where, for example, there should be an infill in the print. So we can try to do a little tippy tap, every 5 or 10 layers. And if there's a pressure, we know that the model is there and still attached to print.
I mean, maybe Nathan, maybe you can see it maybe even during printing, if you're printing spaghetti monster instead of layers against layers.
Yeah. as Joe said, we have to leave something secret. But yeah,
Okay,
it's very, very, very detectable.
that's awesome.
And
It's-
I forgot to tell one thing, which was mentioned on social media. We are definitely not planning to send these data from all of the customer printers.
Oh, no.
We would love to have some opt-in for some data, but we are not going to send this precise data where we can reconstruct the model from it back to the base. It is just a nice tool, and I'm excited about it, which we use in-house.
It would be nice if there was a like a failure mode, if the user could also then like opt in there, like, hey, like I've saved this data, send this back, it did fail, and then we can use that to help, detect these models of failures and things like that. So
Yeah, so I'm seeing like others. You have the spaghetti detective, right? Where you have a camera and you have to train an AI model to.
But
yeah.
spaghetti
It's very
is
cool.
Pretty genius.
It's very cool,
Yeah.
but I think this is maybe. Okay, I don't want to say simpler. Both are pretty high-end solutions, but a different way maybe to get to the same end result where you can just detect stuff like this.
But really where all this goes down to is like the more sensors, the more data, the more possibilities, right? Like there's so much that we're starting to be able to add, and like we may not have even figured out yet some of the things that in the future we might be able to do with all of these things. And so and I've said it once, I'll say it a million times, like it's one of the great things about a Prusa is the machine that you buy today is going to be better in a year, not worse, because we keep updating and
also,
things, so.
not only do we keep it updating, but I'm seeing several questions about what about the XL and open source. How's that?
So I think it will be a little bit controversial, but with the current state of the electronic parts market, I'm thinking that as XL is open source, but I would delay the release of the electronics files after the market stabilizes, because it would be really, really, really crazy if we would have to bid with others for the parts from
Our machine.
Yeah.
So the clones would buy out the parts for our design.
So
right.
it is open source, but some of the parts will be.
Okay.
We are thinking about it, and I think it will go this way because we built a PCB assembly factory in-house, and now
it's awesome.
And it is awesome, but right now we can just do prototypes. We can't get parts to run production.
Yeah. I mean, it's so bad out there. I think it's worth noting. I just read that Ford Motor Company is looking to get into chip fabrication because they can't get enough chips to make cars. And so
crazy.
Like it really is like, Joe has an open hardware logo tattooed on him. Like there's the commitment there. But to make sure that we can get you guys the machines that you're paying for, I do think that this scheme this plan might make a lot of sense to hold off for right now to make sure that we have the parts availability.
So, the situation right now is that we are searching for the parts we want. We have other people searching the parts for us, and we found out on multiple occasions that we are bidding on one lot.
Yeah.
The three of us, which was for us, and we are just bidding against ourselves. And I really would not want that with 100 other manufacturers who are just doing carbon copy clones. So
poor Johnny.
It seems like everyone in the chat is saying that's a very fair way to go about it. So the source of the machine, it would be silly to release it before we ship a unit, right?
Oh, we never release the files before we start shipping.
So
what I was saying that
the electronics.
The electronics will be probably released when the situation on the electronic parts market will stabilize.
Yeah. So once we start shipping the source for the shape, the design.
I didn't plan to talk about this for this long, but our main reason why we do open source is so our customers, you guys, our community can modify and make the printer better. But we are definitely not keeping it open source just for some other lazy companies to do easy carbon copies, which we get a lot of support load from. And I'm fine with it if they improve it.
Yeah, if they push it forward, right?
Yes,
somehow.
But
that's not usually what they do.
Yeah.
to say it nicely.
Yeah. I mean, let's move to the other things and on a high note.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we have time for one more question before we need to move on to PrusaPrinters picks of the week.
I think, we'll see. I think we might need to go a little bit over, but because I mean, come on, we barely got to. I mean, we did answer.
Let's do a few more questions.
Gearbox.
What?
Yeah.
No one's talking about Gearbox?
Gearbox. Okay, yeah, Gearbox.
I mean,
okay, yeah.
Nathan, talk about Gearbox.
Yeah.
Okay, what can I say? I don't know.
Ask for it, man.
I guess I should have collected my thoughts. Okay.
We do have a shot of it in the video.
Yeah, maybe you show it so I can only say what you show.
Yeah.
Anyway, cycloidal gearbox, 20-to-1 gear ratio.
And yeah, I could watch this for hours. Oh my god, this is so good.
So a lot of people ask why, and in my opinion, to get it that high of a ratio, this compact with that low amount of backlash and the shock loading, this is the only option. We tested everything, and in my opinion, this is superior. It develops an incredible amount of torque for its size. It was difficult to find out how to manufacture it, but now that we did, we believe it's very, very manufacturable, cost efficient, and reliable. It has to print every time.
And I would love to add something. It actually turned out what we wanted to achieve, to have a bigger drive gear. This is a perfect match, because actually the drive gear is part of the gearbox, so it is very compact.
Yes, and the torque curves have been matched to perform the best. So some people ask us why 20, and there's one YouTuber,
Mihai Design.
Yeah,
exactly. I love the Mihai video.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Hello, Mihai.
Yeah, hi. Keep up your hard work. Thank you. He said it perfectly. Our drive gear is bigger, so we need a higher ratio. So we're not spinning our motor 20 times as fast. It's 6 point something times faster, right? And we use a pancake stepper motor, NEMA 17 stepper motor. Yeah.
It's very close to the x-axis, to the well, I guess how to say it, to the rail, which is very nice. On Mark III, the motor is sort of like sticking away from the axis. I love how it's very close to the plane of the movement. Very compact.
Yes, less leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think E3D talked about this with the Revo too, that it is time to move away from the standardized cylindrical nozzle, which is mounted by just pushing it together. Mm-hmm. That for the Revo, they can do different mounting styles and different extruders and stuff like that. Because I think we are really over to have just round cylindrical things.
Okay, I guess strange. Jumping to something else. Does the XL has Wi-Fi? A lot of different questions. I think one of the things about the body platform, even though it's not identical on the Mini and on the XL, but a lot of the code base is that developing things for one platform makes it at least sort of easy to merge it into other machines. Yes. So some improvements that we make to the XL, or we haven't even very much talked about the Dubai printer, which also uses the Nextruder. I mean, we kind of hinted at it, so it's nice that we can do the work once, like really hard, and then much less work to get it to other printers.
Yes.
Do we do the Twitter contest now, and then we'll see where we're at?
How about we see if the audience wants to just take an extra half an hour on this whole thing and keep on going?
Extra half an hour. If we do
Hey.
extra half an hour, I need
what?
I need a little
A break.
A break.
Okay.
Yes. I drank a lot of water.
Understandable.
See, I tried to hold it to a schedule. You tell me to take it longer.
Yeah, but I just look at how there's so much to talk about.
We barely touched our question list. Like we have a ton of stuff out there and things, and we want to answer as many questions as possible. But
it seems like the
so guys, collect the questions. I'm going to take tiny break.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do our PrusaPrinters picks of the week while Joe goes to the bathroom.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll come back and continue answering more questions. I think that's a way to make sense and not necessarily have a lot of dead air time.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. So Nikki, while you're pulling it up.
Yeah.
So PrusaPrinters picks of the week. We challenge you guys every show not PrusaPrinters picks of the week. I don't feel great. So my brain's not entirely there. The PrusaLive Show Us Your Prints competition. Every show we challenge you guys to print your best models and take a picture of your model on your Prusa printer and send us a photo of it on Twitter, #PrusaLive, and you have an opportunity to win some filament. And you guys always blow us away. It's actually my favorite portion of the show. Because I love seeing what you guys do. So anyways, Mickey, who do we have for number 3 this
the
week?
3 is very good team-wise. I think it's...
There were some really good ones.
So the third place goes to Nil Skull, and he made an XL piggy bank, which I think is really quite funny.
Yeah, this is really great. I think it's a funny idea. Start saving your nickels and your dimes to be able to afford your XL when they ship. So
nice,
very cute.
Yeah. Nice,
great job.
Nils.
I did ask him today to upload it to PrusaPrinters, and he has already done it. So
awesome.
That's great. Fantastic job. What do we have for number 2 there, Nikki?
Number 2 is awesome. So it's CJ Beck, who is definitely not featured for the first time. He keeps sharing awesome pictures. And it's a model from Wexter, who we also had on the show before.
A couple times.
Yeah, it's the Invisible Man, which is very nice.
Yeah, Wexter always adds a bunch of things on for Halloween, and this was one of his Halloween models this year. And I grew up watching The Invisible Man, the original movie, and this is such a good model.
Oh, I think there's a new one. Have you seen it?
No,
yeah.
I don't think I have.
Is it good?
But yeah, the new one's pretty intense.
Oh, okay.
It came out a couple years ago. But yeah, it's pretty intense.
Someone pimped their
OLED.
screen. Very nice.
Yeah, it looks great.
And there's even even a time lapse. Okay.
And we have our number 1. I think our number 1 is it wins because of the story this week. It is such a great example.
Number 1 is awesome. So, are you ready for it? It's by Nico.
Yeah.
And it's a Gast.
Yeah, really, really neat, Veroni, however you pronounce that, model. But yeah, if you read the comments, he actually needed to have a new cast because he was going, or a new device because he was going to continue wearing it longer, and they didn't have the right size for him in stock, and so he just printed his own, and
that's so cool.
Was able to solve the problem.
Yeah, shout out to Nico. Also, that's our lead Prusa Slicer developer commenting. That's fun.
Oh, Wojciech.
Wojciech found the coolness of Twitter recently.
Yeah,
which is fun.
Yeah, I've noticed, and it's great. I just followed him.
Yeah, I always love when I see 3D printed casts. Not that I want to break my hand just so I can have it, but it's really cool to have it.
Yeah.
Usually, in the community, there's not a lot of these kind of prints.
Yeah.
And
Right.
especially what I mean that we have a lot of industrial companies, and they just don't share what they print.
Yeah,
We get to see it, but
we can't really share it often because
Right.
yeah.
and this is very close. For example, what ICAM is doing.
Yes.
One of the best cardiology centers in Europe.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Congrats,
it's very
Nico.
good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and hope you heal up well. So
Yeah.
hope you don't have to have that on your wrist much longer.
Okay,
all right.
so let's maybe instead of doing like a free talk about the XL, let's try to tackle questions, specific questions from our viewers. And we have a lot of them already.
Oh my.
Yeah, there's still a lot of questions.
And we have a lot still from what we've gathered over the past few days of like things that have been kind of reoccurring coming too. So
let's go for it.
So real quick, Joe, do you want to explain the difference between, because a lot of people are asking about the full enclosure versus the draft guard and things like that. Do you want to explain like the difference between those and what those two options might be?
Well, yes. The full enclosure is that everything will be full enclosed and probably will have doors like this. We are still finishing, or if you should fold it up, depending. There are multiple ideas, but the draft shield is like the simple way that if you are mostly printing from PLA or PETG, and your apartment doesn't allow that you completely close it, you can just put this on and it stops the draft.
I mean, if you're printing something big, the heat bed is so strong. Even with just the draft shield and open top, like the inside gets very, very warm.
Yes.
It's very nice.
Oh, you mentioned a lot of power. But one of the questions I saw is, what is the deal with the power supplies?
Yes.
So that is a nice example of economy of scale, and also the upgradability of the XL. So by default, it has 2 power supplies, but if you add more extruders, you can just plug in the third. So if you have just the basic version, you don't have to pay for the massive power supply, which would be needed for the whole thing going. And as it is the same power supply we are using for Mark III, we get the benefits of economy of scale. And also, one of the things I love is that the power supply is passive. It doesn't have angry, whining fans.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's still made by Delta. It's. I even love how it looks. The powder coated black metal. It looks very nice.
On the tool changer side of things, is there going to be any way to sense whether a tool has been picked up?
Yes.
Or is there potential of a tool not being picked up and the print continuing on?
We can detect if it was successfully done. There is a little magnet and Hall effect sensor, which detects it.
That's another awesome thing about the breakout board, right? You just plug a thing into a connector and you can have stuff like this instead of.
But I mean, we could talk for hours. You just mentioned the breakout board.
Right.
When we were starting to develop it, I was saying that everything needs to be easily swappable by a non-technical assistant. And for example, with the electronics, if something breaks, which we actually, as we have integrated drivers on the boards, we don't see it much, but sometimes someone wears something improperly or something short, you can just slide out the main electronics and slide the new one in. And I think that is a wonderful feature. And also, if you are adding the ability to use the whole 5 tools, you just plug in another board. But we are using PCI Express connectors.
Yes, it's so cool.
But you can't plug your graphics card.
I kind of just want to, for the lows, like 3080 into the XL motherboard. Oh. And it can render all my Blender renders.
He is a lucky one. He got 3080.
Yes.
I think we should bully him for a bit about it.
But I actually need it for work.
April Fool's is coming. You know that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
PCI Express.
I mean, I remember that at the early MakerBots, they were using the Ethernet cables, and I remember stories about people plugging it in and frying their routers and stuff.
Right.
So don't do this. Not even as a joke for April Fools.
Okay. Yeah, I would not give you my graphics card to test it. My precious. What else do we have here? Oh yeah, the top bar missing. You know, it's not a full cube, the frame. Why? What's up with that? I mean, first of all, have you seen Joel telling, using an angle grinder to modify his whatever Ender machine that was a cube one?
It is not motivated by Joel, but you just want to see.
Yeah, it was
what the printer is doing.
It was this shape years before the video,
and that the fact you can take it out.
Yeah, it's so easy to access the inside,
and that is also the reason why in the bare bones version, for a lot of people who would be just printing PLA or PETG, you can just go in from the sides, and you don't have to be like, you know.
Yeah.
I always, with some of the printers, if I imagine how easy it is to service them, it would be like, you know, fixing your stove and you are half the body inside, and you are doing something.
Yeah.
I didn't want that.
Yeah. Now it's so much easier to access, and it is sturdy enough. Basically, we tested it,
and I mean, one of the reasons people and companies love Mark IIIs is that everything is accessible and they can easily service it.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And it is a system, like not having that top bar is a system that's been tried and true. Like this is not the first printer that's been designed like that.
Definitely, yeah. Are the printed parts PETG, or I say right now they are PETG? We will see on testing if we need to change it, but right now it's PETG.
Yeah, I would say for the production it will be polycarbonate.
Okay.
But you know, for
there may be some special.
Sorry.
Some special materials, right? We have some specials.
Wink,
I mean, we are talking about these. These end caps and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
It might be a mix, right? Like some parts might be like the LCD holder, like. I'm pretty sure that PETG is an overkill for that, so that's probably fine.
Basically, what we are doing for the Mark IIIs, fun shrouds are printed from different materials.
Yes, so this might be the case also for the XL.
Let's talk about the lights real quick, because I think that's actually a fun little extra feature. The lights that have been added in. So there are LED strips inside the XL. And those will give you status messages now, right?
Yes.
We have a lot of ideas about what we could use, especially the back horizontal bar for. Like a progress bar would be so cool. But obviously, this is not a priority for the firmware team right now. You know, doing cool RGB things. So this is not implemented yet, but we have a lot of plans with that.
It is implemented on the AFS.
Oh yeah, that's true.
On the farm. Right. But yeah, I like the idea if you are managing a bigger farm and you have your little space where you prepare models and do your business, and on the other side of the room you have a big print farm, you can just glimpse at it and see what it's doing. So we definitely don't want it to be like, you know, a party at a club.
I'm sure we'll do some like non-disturb mode or something like that where it's all tuned down.
I mean, or a very disturbed mode, where it would be just the bright blue lights.
Nice.
I mean, I bet everyone hates that one charger which has the blue LED, which is lighting up the whole room when you want to go to sleep. Yeah. We don't want that.
Yeah. tell us about the heat bed. Yeah, so modular.
Yeah, we haven't even touched that.
Individual segments, which is awesome. It's also easier to keep it level, because if you have one piece and heat it up, it expands and it would bow a little bit, bend. So
there is a little fun fact we can tell on the stream.
Mm-hmm.
The size of it is based on the what is the name of the little thing you put under your beer?
Oh yeah,
Coaster.
Yeah.
It's a coaster. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't wanna give anyone any ideas, but I might be heating my morning
Your coffee
tea
and tea. Yeah.
with one of the segments. Oops.
And there is another board which is managing all of the 16, which has all the MOSFETs. What is nice is that the power going to the bats is to each individual ones is quite small, and you actually get like through cold corners compensation, because if you really need to heat up the whole thing, the corners will heat more. If you are printing with materials which don't require high temperature and the duty cycle is below 50, you can switch the bats like checkerboards when you are powering them on and off. So it gives power supplies a lot more headroom. They should last more, and also you can just heat up the part of it. Interesting thing is that you can't start from the center ones.
Yeah, that's a bad
because
idea.
it would bow the sheet, but you can start from the side, and I just find it funny and disturbing if I see in the community the giant printers which are just printing benchy in the center. It's just so wasteful.
Yep. I have
and you kind of touched on a little bit in two things about the bowing. There's actually gaps between each of the heater tiles, so that they can, as they heat up and expand, there's room for them to expand and not butt up against each other and cause
and the
gaps,
sheet can expand because it's not fixed physically to the frame. It's magnetically attached, so it can expand.
I was actually experimenting with this a long time ago. Everyone knows the red heated bads, the PCB ones.
Yeah.
I designed that.
Yeah.
And I was experimenting with doing the center heat up and having routed parts in the PCB with little, I would say, springs, so it could spring out. But I didn't have that much experience. 8-9 years ago, and obviously, Captain Hindsight, I found out that back then we were using glass, that it will just break the glass.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I have one for Nathan. What about profiles for different sheets? Will we need something like that, or not really?
No.
So you can level or on. You don't care what's under nozzle.
Yeah, we've done eggs and things like this.
You can probe the shell of an egg.
We actually did that.
That's really funny.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to talking about how gentle it touches. I think that is a really, really great example. And we look forward to that video very soon, Nikki.
Please don't try that at home when your machine.
Yes.
I can see the support case. My printer is.
Make it remember when we were finishing the article in Germany before the FormNext, and we were talking about the little thing I slipped in. You can basically put a plank of wood, and it would perfectly level it. But don't try that at home.
And I don't recommend it.
Yeah. And also, one of the things we didn't mention throughout the stream, you are not limited to the calibration points. Even on the Mark III, where you have the sheet, we are avoiding the areas where there are magnets because they mess with the readings. And what we are having in the test for lots of months, we are just probing where the model is. But I just saw this at Clipper,
Oh, they edited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we can probe anywhere, and if you are printing Benchy, you don't have to probe the whole bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
There is something about downgrade for firmware. No, definitely no need to downgrade the firmware on the Mark IIIs. So, stopping the fake news before they spread. Looking at the current comments, I'm sure we have some more questions saved from before. Oh yeah, is the Nextruder developed, just for the XL? I mean, we already have shown 2 printers which use the Nextruder.
Yes.
The Dubai printer, the AFS module, and the XL. So
I think for, new printers, we will just throw it away and start something completely new. That makes complete sense.
right.
Nathan, I didn't mean it that way, but I meant it sarcastically. No, it was developed just for the XL.
Yeah. I saw a good one, and Nathan talked about having super powerful fans and things like that. How is the noise on the XL? Especially in comparison to the Mark III?
Are you asking me?
Sure.
Okay. Noise levels. I don't know if I could say.
Generally caught my attention. Yeah.
I don't think it is fair to compare XL to Mark IIIs because
it's different.
You have big sheets of metal, and
Right.
and I can't imagine you having this by your bedside printing. But
I think in
Joe, don't
most
doubt
of the
our
time-
users.
I think most of the time it will be more quiet. I think motors are better. How we drive them is better. We're using very high-end components, very nice linear rails. So all those aspects will be more quiet. But we also have the capability to turn those fans up. And if you want more airflow, then it's really hard to get a lot more airflow and keep it quiet. So
very nice, because often on our printers these days with the Trinamics and everything, the fans sometimes end up the loudest part of the printer. So that would be cool if the hot end, or what's the heatsink fan doesn't spin full speed if it doesn't need to.
Yeah, but
now it does not.
As you mentioned the rails, someone actually screen capped the video and found out which rails we are using.
They're high quality rails.
I think it was Nero 3D. I think he's one of the Voron developers.
Oh
He's
yeah.
One of the main developers. Yeah.
Hello, Nero.
Hey.
Yeah. Also, thank you, Nero.
I loved that even he was cringing about the few people that said this is basically a Voron, and he was like, "Oh my god."
He actually got really excited. I don't know if you caught it, Joe, but he got really excited because he followed him on Twitter recently, and so
very nice.
I still can't get used to these reactions.
There were also quite a few questions about more tools. I think I can easily answer that because
no lasers.
No laser. The easy answer right now is that we're not really ready to show any more tools, but we have a lot of ideas for them.
Yeah, and the biggest problem is to have, as we are used to a certain quality of software, it would be difficult to provide the same quality at launch for different tools.
Yeah.
So for the future,
starting with printing, that's what we do well.
Yes.
Well, and even E3D, they had their tool changer out for a good while before they released like the assemble head or anything like that, right? So it's not. There's a difference between day one launch and where you end up in the future.
Can we upgrade Mark 2, 3 to an XL? No, it does.
That doesn't make sense.
Totally different systems. Yeah.
It's you wouldn't reuse basically anything.
I mean, even with Mark II and Mark III, we it was like 90% of the
Yeah,
printer.
we did a 2.5, which was a good middle ground.
Yes, but we still got pushed into making a full upgrade. But I think that is wasteful.
And don't get me wrong, we're not saying that there will not be any ever upgrade on Mark III. Like, we always try to provide upgrades when they make
but
sense.
But not from Mark III to
XL. Yeah, that's a no-no.
It's like you can't go from a Mini to a Mark III, right?
Exactly. That's a good analogy. I like that. Yeah, does make sense. The exact temperatures and everything will be revealed closer to the shipping date. We didn't share any like final numbers on purpose.
Yeah,
I think this one's important, and it's very simple and short. I see a lot of people asking like, "Hey, I ordered a single extruder for now, or I ordered a double extruder for now, but in 6 months from now, I might want to change. Am I going to be able to upgrade my order?" Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So that is one of the reasons we wanted to do a new shop. So when it's going to closer to the shipping date, you can change your order, modify it if the other stuff is in stock. But for the XL, it will be adding more extruders and stuff, and then before the actual shipping, you will pay and it will get shipped. That is one of the things I also wanted the shop for, because with Presta it was not possible to have just partial prepayments.
And about speeds, what we said in the article, like the main firmware for the XL is definitely not trying to make the fastest blob that looks somewhat like a Benchy. So the quality is the priority, but we might do the clipper build for the XL, but we'll see if there's like
actually that was Wojciech's idea. Why don't we provide our builds for Mini and others? So we are considering it, but it will definitely not be supported by us.
Yeah,
by our support.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it possible to fit? I mean, putting MMU on this doesn't really make sense, because it's better to just use more print heads. But
that is called integration hell.
Yeah.
But Mickey, I want to be able to print 25 colors at once.
I'm sure someone will do it. I'm sure someone will do it. But
Matt, go for it. I think. I mean, we really did another half an hour.
We did, and I hope we cleared a lot of the questions.
Yes.
Hopefully, people can come back to this video and find a lot of the answers.
We know you guys have a ton of other questions and things. I will also say, if you haven't read the blog post, there's a ton of information in there, and some of the stuff we've kind of covered again. So definitely go read the blog post. Get up to date there. This isn't going to be the last time we talk about the XL. We are going to now that we've released it, we will have more bits, and maybe even like sprinkling little breadcrumbs until we get to the 6 months of
and I'm sure thank you, Nathan, for being here with us. I'm sure we would love to have you on again, because now we are keeping some parts of the Nextruder still a little bit of a mystery, as Joe said. But I'm sure as the months go, we will be, ready to show more.
Yeah, we wouldn't want anyone to reverse engineering from what we say and release it sooner than
clone a bad version of it and say that it's bad because he cloned it badly, and it would suck.
I want to thank everyone for the incredible support we've got after the release. It is way more pre-orders than we expected. Like 3 times more than we expected. So it is a challenge for us. We are looking for another space to increase the manufacturing, but we should be able to increase it.
It's a big challenge, but it's a good problem to have a lot of orders. So we will work on that.
So thank you, everyone, and see you on the next stream.
Yeah, Absolutely. Thank you guys. Stay safe. Keep printing. We'll see you in December.
See
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thanks. Ciao.
Thank you.